According to Latino New York Times columnist Christopher Rivas, breaking up with his white girlfriend was a way for him to sufficiently prove how #woke he was. Caught between the middle of his love and his tribe, he decided to bow to the tribe. Now that's woke! Or is it just plain old-fashioned weak? Let's talk about it on the other side. My name is Raleigh Castillo, and this is podcast El Pensador. Showing up, everybody. The revolution continues, one podcast at a time. I am your host, Raleigh Castillo, and before we get started, as always, be sure to like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hell's Tavern Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube by searching for Hell's Tavern, and if you enjoy our work, sponsor the discussion for the price of a beer at patreon.com/Hell's Tavern. We appreciate the sponsorship. Join the discussion on Facebook, and if you think I'm wrong or misguided, be sure to let me know in the comments. Okay.
Our first order of business.
So, let's talk about wokeness. You hear this term a lot, and I want to get to the bottom of it and what it means to be woke. And I think the meaning is exemplified in this article written by Christopher Rivas, fellow Latino, written in the New York Times, titled, "I broke up with her because she's white." Now, bear with me here, but this might be hard to listen to, but let's get through it. It starts off by saying, "It's been a year since I broke up with my girlfriend, and I haven't told her the real reason. I talked about it, mumbling about how I was trying to figure out who I was or whatever. She didn't understand. I'm not sure I do either. There was nothing wrong with her at all. I don't really know what my tipping point was. It just kind of happened. At 30, I woke up one day, took a deep breath, looked at her, and I thought, I don't think I can date white women anymore. Maybe I wouldn't have broken up with her if it hadn't been for all the judgment coming my way. Over the years, I have dated brown women and black women, but mostly white women. I hadn't thought about why that was." Listen to this sentence right here. "But when some brown and black people in my community started giving me a hard time about dating white women, I sensed they'd be happier if I stopped." Damn, how thoughtful. "But the real reason," he goes on to say, "is I think I can no longer date white women isn't any of that. It's because in today's #woke society, there is mad pressure to be #woke. To be aware of the implications of whom you're attracted to and why. Which means that in the eyes of others, the color of women I date is a big deal. Like, I'm the problem. Like, I'm betraying my people if I date white women. But I was taught that we were all one people. How naive." Jeez. "I see people watching me with a stink eye, noses turned up, as if they think black and brown people would somehow be better off if I dumped my white girlfriend. It's a lot of pressure. Along with each watchful eye, the whispers of, 'Pick a side, Chris. Chris, pick a side,' fill my already noisy mind." I started reading James Baldwin and Ta-Nehisi Coates, of all people, and other black and brown authors looking for guidance, a roadmap, help on what it means to be a brown man in the world. Like, yes, our bodies have been colonized. Yes, I am a child of blackness. Yes, the black body has done more for society than it has gotten in return. Yes, society seems to want to embrace a lot of things associated with blackness without actually being black. How did we get here? If everyone is so woke, why are things so terrible? Maybe everyone isn't so woke. Anyway, what am I supposed to do? How do I love as a brown body in a world in a way that makes everyone happy? I fell for a white woman and she fell for me. Simple as that. Yet I feel as if I'm doing the wrong thing by dating her." I am gonna have to stop there because I am about to barf. So, here's the rundown. We live in a society where male self-esteem is at an all-time low, as exemplified by Chris here. I'm not gonna try to normalize what a fellow Latino man did here. I mean, let's be 100 with each other. Chris exemplified weak male behavior, period. I know it has a pretty veneer of wokeness and social justice, but when you strip the wood down, it is infested with termites and rot. What would a self-assured, confident man do in this situation? Well, let's ask a self-confident, self-assured man. Raleigh, what would you do? I'm so glad you asked. A self-assured man knows what he wants and has principles that guide his life. He's not thrown out of course by the whims of other people or the whims of the times. He listens to the concerns of his friends and family and then doesn't say, I think I'm the one who's wrong for being in love with a white woman. But out of principle says the obvious. I mean, to me, it's obvious. If you want me to dump my girlfriend, there better be a damn good reason. And the color of her skin is not only not a good reason, but it's also kind of freaking racist. And then you get new friends because you have a pretty shitty circle. I mean, what are we in the 50s? But what did Chris do? The opposite, of course, because what I would have done is not only considered to not be woke, but to some, it's considered toxic. Male strength has become synonymous with oppression. And that's all in part because the intelligentsia in our country, the universities into pop culture, and into our news media have sold the narrative of the male patriarchy. So when you have enough young people susceptible enough to buy into this narrative, you start seeing the propaganda. Corporations like Gillette start finding it profitable to attack masculinity as toxic. And like an unhealthy body is a feeding ground for disease, an already confused and unprincipled generation provides a susceptibility that is a feeding ground for this new type of delusion, wokeness. And like every crappy bill that Congress passes, what better way to disguise the crap that it actually is and is inside of it than by giving it a pretty name, like the Patriot Act, which gave the government the authority to spy on you. You're such a patriot. Well, what the hell does being woke even mean? It's the opposite. It's to become drone-like in your ability to reason. It's calling Candace Owens a white supremacist. She's black. Ben Shapiro is a Nazi, but he's a Jew. It's the rejection of nuance for the emotional. Biological sex, male and female, are societal constructions. It's the total abdication of your individualism for the collective good of some tribe who always seems to be at war with the system. Like Chris, who wrote this article, who was more concerned about what his friends thought about his dating life than his own happiness. I mean, this is all encapsulated in this sentence. I see people watching me with a stink eye, noses turned up, as if they think black and brown people would somehow be better off if I dumped my white girlfriend. It's a lot of pressure. Along with each watchful eye, the whispers of, pick a side, Chris, pick a side, fill my already noisy mind. Now, I'm gonna ask you, what is more likely? That the people around Chris have so invested in his relationship as a proxy battleground for the struggle against the white power structure? Or that they have their own shit to worry about, and that all this noise and cosmic chaos is a figment of Chris's imagination, bred by years of a one-sided education with a low self-esteem. Even when he listed off the names of people he sought guidance from, James Baldwin, Ta-Nehisi Coates, these thinkers come from the dredges of the far left of the ideological spectrum. Why didn't he pick something written by Thomas Sowell, John McWhorter? I mean, there's an endless array of respected minority intellectuals on the right. Maybe one of each. Get a full perspective. Nope, you can't do that because even the great minority thinkers are pawns of the white supremacist superstructure. Being woke is to put yourself to sleep. It's become a meme of confused millennials roaming around disemboweling themselves before the altar of equality and social justice. And this article is just another sacrifice. Chris is just another casualty of a grave, unhealthy college educational system and the susceptibility of an entire generation. Guys, you're not woke. You're weak.